Alrighty, welcome to Night News, our top story for the evening. Walter, ladies and gentlemen, has a new name. He's now called Gunther, whatever, and AEW fans, indie fans, weirdos on Twitter, they're pretending to be pissed off or whatever. They're, oh, Gunther. Ta, 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 ta. Apparently WWE filed a trademark for a name, Gunther Stark. Apparently, years ago, there was a Nazi commander called Gunther Stark. You know what I mean? WWE, they trademark a name, some random Nazi from 300 years ago happens to be called Gunther Stark. So that means that McMahon, he's Hitler's best friend, blah, blah, blah. Just bullshit, cheap garbage. Indie fans trying to reach pretty damn fucking far for a story or whatever, you know. And then it turns out that they gave this name to Walter or whatever. So on NXT, he beats up Roderick strong. The announcer goes to declare him the winner. He grabs the microphone. And the winner of the match, Gunther! And then he walked away and the crowd was upset and the smarks were crying, stuff like this there. First of all, in my opinion, he looks like a Gunther, you know what I mean? He looks like a big German or something. And he looks like the name Gunther would fit his face. You know, that big Neanderthal face that he has or whatever. And the name Walter, it sounds like an old man's name or whatever. And before he joined WWE, I remember indie fans writing that name all over the place in all caps, Walter. I remember thinking, what the fuck is this? Like, why do they think they're hot shit writing this name everywhere in all caps? Like, what's wrong with these fucking weirdos is what I remember thinking there. And maybe McMahon feels the same way. Maybe he feels like this is just too indie for him or whatever. So he's going with the name Gunther. Visually, it matches his face or whatever. You know what I mean? So because of this Gunther Stark thing, people are saying he's named after a Nazi, stuff like this. This is ridiculous. There happens to be somebody with that name, you know, who gives a fuck? Y'all have nothing with this, you know. Keith Lee writes a tweet, man, if what I'm hearing is real, poor Walter. Nobody gives a fuck there, Bearcat or whatever the fuck, Fat Albert there. Nobody gives a fuck about you and your ugly face or whatever there. I'm a big guy that wrestles like a midget. Good for you or whatever. Meltzer wrote a tweet that Cody Rhodes won't be in the Rumble, nor will Jon Moxley. And then Lance Storm replied, am I in the Rumble, Dave? And then CM Punk ripped off Lance Storm's tweet, working on my calendar. Am I in the Rumble or something? Oh, he's so witty, CM Punk. You know, CM Punk mocking Dave Meltzer, mocking this whole Cody Rhodes and the Rumble fake bullshit. Is he desperate for attention? You be the judge. Personally, I don't give a fuck or whatever. Speaking of not giving a fuck there, the Hardy Boys are reuniting on the Indies, folks. Remember when they came out at WrestleMania or whatever? It was a big deal. This, even though they're wrestling at big time wrestling or whatever, it don't feel as much of a big deal, you know what I mean? Feels like we've seen this already there. Many times, Jeff getting high, fucking up, and ending up on the Indies, and people acting like snobs or whatever. We've been there before. You know, is he going to AEW? Again, we've been there before. Jeff fucking up, ending up in TNA. Now he fucks up again. He's gonna end up in AEW. And fuck up there. Hopefully he don't end up in the ring all high out of his fucking mind like he did in the past. You know what I mean? Let's hope him and John Moxley don't start drinking backstage or whatever, folks. Anything can happen in wrestling there. Roderick Strong, is he leaving NXT? Apparently, because he was beat by Gunther or something, Alvarez thinks he's leaving. He opened a pro wrestling tea store or whatever. Honestly, if Roderick Strong leaves, there's gonna be fake outrage on Twitter for 3 minutes. But honestly, I don't think anybody cares about this guy. He can leave, finish up the 4-man 500K viewer group, Undisputed Era or whatever. Honestly, Roderick Strong, very bland, very indie. You know, if he leaves, it's no big loss for McMahon. The Briscoes, apparently they're talking about going to WWE. They would bring the real shit to WWE or whatever. Years ago, there was a podcast clip of the Briscoes. Apparently, they met with WWE or something, but they weren't cosmetically pleasing enough. In other words, they were too ugly for McMahon or whatever, you know. Years have gone by, they're older, they're uglier. Probably not much interest from McMahon's part there. The Briscoes, they apparently want to go to AEW as well, you know. There's a lot of ugly people there. The fans are ugly, so maybe it's a better fit there. The Briscoes just want to work or whatever. And somebody who recently quit his work, folks, Scotty, too Hotty, he said that McMahon had some unusual requests or whatever. Apparently, he went to NXT and he said the coaches had to look younger. He wanted the coaches to dye their hair and their beards or something. And Scotty took great offense to this. Apparently, he said over at NXT there was hardly anybody there. So they would wear track suits in the office, NXT track suits. And McMahon, apparently he went there and he said, okay, you guys are going to wear business casual. And Scotty didn't like this, you know. But imagine McMahon, like, you know, he runs $1 billion corporation. He shows up there at Jobber NXT. It's a bunch of old-looking guys wearing tracksuits in the office. He's probably wondering what the fuck's going on, you know. I'm guessing it was probably a mix, looking scruffy and old and weird in track suits, you know what I mean? Maybe that's how they do business in AEW, Cody Rhodes wearing tracksuit backstage. Hey, Kenny, you got a nice tracksuit. I don't know. But apparently Scotty was mad about this there. He left on his own terms. He probably left before they had a chance to fire him or whatever. Like a preemptive breakup. He's upset that the original NXT is gone. Quite frankly, I think it's for the better because it failed. It failed to deliver the ratings. It wasn't producing that many stars recently. It was basically an indie fad, you know what I mean? And now you hear backstage it's weirdos wearing tracksuit. No wonder McMahon is shutting down operations there. And I don't blame him, folks. So there's your news report for today, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned for more videos. They're coming later this week there. Until next time, peace. Ha!